We're back with stage 5 of the Tour de France right here on GCN Racing. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified every time we upload a video. A look back at yesterday, a fast and frantic finale into Nancy resulted in a big bunch sprint. DeKoning Quick-Step gave everybody a lesson in lead-outs, perfectly delivering Elia Viviani to the finish line, giving them 2 stage wins in 2 days. They also maintained the overall race lead with Alaphilippe, while Sagan held on to green by 23 points and Van Aert remained the best young rider. Today though, almost certainly wouldn't be for the pure bunch sprinters. Stage 5 is 175 kilometres from Saint-Die-Des-Vosges to Colmar, and while there may be a flat finish, before that the riders have to deal with 2 third category and 2 second category climbs. Once again, we had ideal weather conditions in the northeast of France, and today, with the uncertainty of how the stage would pan out, there were plenty of riders interested in making the day's breakaway. So we had multiple attacks in the opening few kilometres of the stage, and as you might expect, Thomas de Gendt of Lotto Soudal was amongst the main protagonists. This was the third move he'd made, this time with Benoit Cunefroy and Jan Tratnik. However, he would miss out on the actual move. That one was started by Mads Verschmidt of Katusha Alpecin, a team incidentally rumoured to be stopping at the end of this year. He was later joined by Simon Clark of EF Education First, Latvian champion Tom Schoens of Trek Segafredo, and finally De Gendt's teammate and current King of the Mountains, Tim Wellens. 4 very strong riders then, and as such, although their lead rapidly rose initially, the bunch was not going to let them get too far up the road. 2 minutes was their advantage when Bora Hansgrohe started working on the front. Wellens added an extra 2 points to his KOM tally on the first climb of the day, which was to coat the Grendelbrook. The next major point of interest though was the intermediate sprint. Clark took max points up front, but behind it was a big battle. Viviani once again getting the better of Sagan and Matthews, reducing Sagan's lead to 22 points in that competition. A short while later, we reached the first second category climb of this year's race. The Côte de Haute Königsberg, 5.9 k's at 5.8%. The peloton at this point still being led by Bora Hansgrohe, although they'd now been joined by Sunweb. The gap at the top to the leading quartet was down to 1 minute and 35 seconds, as Wellens took the maximum 5 points on offer at the top of the climb. It's been a tour to forget so far for Tony Galopin, a crash on day 1, another one yesterday, and today he was brought to a stop by a rogue parasol. Hopefully the sun will shine on him at some point during this year's race. DeKoning Quick-Step also added their firepower to the chase. Nobody a threat to their yellow jersey, but they were out for a 3rd straight stage win. With the gap to the leaders tumbling, Schoens decided it was time to do a Wellens, attacking on the penultimate climb of the day, the Côte de Trois-Epis, and going on a solo mission out front. His gap at the top of that climb, 19 seconds over Wellens, 42 over Simon Clark, and a little over 1 minute over the bunch. A daredevil descent ensued for the Latvian, but despite his antics, his gap continued to fall. Just a couple of kilometres later, Wellens and Clark were caught by what was left of the main peloton, and then, on the final climb of the day, the inevitable happened. Schoens was brought back into the fold by a group that was flying up the climb, courtesy of the pace being set by Team Sunweb's Wilco Kelderman. And that pace gave us our first big name casualty. Zakarin hasn't looked anything like the rider that he was at the Giro. Meanwhile, Boasson-Hagen was doing his best to fight back on after an untimely mechanical problem. Sandro Morison of Wanty Gobert accelerated over the top to take the maximum KOM points in the final climb, but after that it was a battle amongst the GC riders to get good position for the impending descent. And this man can't help himself, can he? Alaphilippe just loves to race his bike, and it was he who briefly led the reduced bunch down the descent before allowing Sunweb to once again take over. Amazingly, Boasson-Hagen did manage to make it back onto the bunch. How much had it taken out of him though? Trying to prevent it being a sprint was former world champion Rui Costa of UAE Team Emirates. He attacked with 7 k's to go and quickly got a 10-second gap. And without many domestiques left to do the chasing behind, it looked like he might have a chance. That had come down to 11 seconds with 3.3 k's to go, and then with 2 k's to go, his dream was over. German champion Max Schachmann would be leading the bunch with 1 kilometre to go and the Flamme Rouge, but there were about 10 riders at this point still believing their chances of a stage win. Matej Mohoric led through the final corner with 450 to go, and then next up it was the African champion Daryl Impey leading out Matteo Trentin. Greg Van Avermaet was just behind that, Sagan looming large in the green jersey in around 6th position. Colbrelli and Van Aert caught a little bit further out in 7th and 8th respectively. Trentin was the first to launch his sprint with Jasper Stuyven alongside, but when Sagan went, he soon got a gap over the rest. Launching it down the right hand side of our screens, he came across the line to take the victory, his 12th career win at the Tour so far. Here's the overhead shot. You can see that he had so much extra speed when he launched his sprint at the end there. Trentin trying to get on terms and failing to do so. Van Aert coming from a long way back there though to eventually take 2nd place. What can you say about Peter Sagan though? 12th Tour stage win, his 43rd top 3, his 70th top 10. Confirmation of the results, another great performance by Van Aert to get 2nd on the day. Trentin in 3rd, Colbrelli will be disappointed with 4th, whilst after all that work from Sunweb, Michael Matthews had to settle for 7th. This man remains in the overall lead though, Alaphilippe now with just 14 seconds over Van Aert after he picked up bonus seconds on the finish line. Kruijswijk in 3rd, Bennett in 4th, Michael Matthews rounding out the top 5. In the green jersey competition, Sagan now has a commanding lead, 47 points in front of Michael Matthews, with Viviani a further 5 points back in 3rd. Tomorrow, we hit the mountains. It is the first big test for the GC riders as they head from Mulhouse to La Planche des Belle Filles. Of the 7 classified climbs, 2 are 3rd cat, 2 are 2nd cat, and 3, including the final one to the finish line, are 1st category. Organisers have introduced an extra sting in the tail at the end of the Belle Filles, a gravel sector that pitches up to 24%. We'll be back tomorrow to bring you all the action.